Greek myth 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And Greek trilogy. Interesting. Which stories shall I ask you about? Okay. 1. The myth of Tantalus. If you know the story, good. If you don't, you should know it. During the years when I taught Greek myth, weekend seminars, university level, I always started with that. It's a great place to start the cycle, one cycle of myths with. Okay, Tantalus. The question is, why does Tantalus do what he does? Which is kill his own son and chop him up and feed him to the gods. Why? The story itself does not explain that. And that's one reason why it's such a good myth. You discuss why. There's a reason. In my opinion, there's only one reasonable explanation. Discuss. Okay, let's choose another. Theseus. When Theseus was a young man, he was raised by his mother. His father was king of Athens, but he was raised in Troezen. Basically, he was a bastard. That is, his mother and father were not married, but he belonged to the royal house of Troezen, and also he was the son of the king of Athens. So he was all right. But let's get into Theseus a little bit. The makers of the myths probably did not intend us to look into the psychology of many of these characters. But myths invite us to do that in many ways. Okay, so I want to know what you think of Theseus's mentality, mental motivation, let's say. As a young man, when he's 18, he picks up a big rock, finds armor there, and mom sends him to Athens, distance of, let's say, 100 kilometers. Along the way, he has adventures, or at least these later myths. The later myths, you should be aware, try to make of him a Heracles, a Hercules. Athens needed a great hero. It's too bad, because Theseus is great without these stupid myths about killing monsters and stuff like that. Okay, he arrives in Athens just when the Athenians are sending the boat with the 7 young men and 7 young women to Crete, where the Minotaur will devour them. Theseus decides to go along and do something really heroic. Dad says, now it's a black ship, black sails. Dad tells him, if you return, please change the color of the sails to white sails so that I'll know that you lived. When Theseus returns, successful, of course, he killed the Minotaur, he forgets, according to the myth, to change the sails. Do you think he forgot? Explain. Explain. Analyze and explain. That's getting into this young man. In later myths, he is a womanizer, a philanderer, a man who has relationships with several women. Lots of myths about it. Why? Explain. Explain the relation between his upbringing and such behavior. Get into Theseus's head. Ironically, our number 2 was A Midsummer Night's Dream, where Shakespeare has Theseus, the Duke of Athens, right? Shakespeare's Theseus really is not very interesting. Not bad. I'll take that back. But it's a different man. Different. Okay, 3rd Greek myth. Let me think of something. Heracles, no, Medea. That's pretty good. I'm getting into tragedy, though. That's okay, it's still myth, because number 17 is trilogy. So Medea is no trilogy. The Bacchae, wonderful Bacchae. Okay, get into the Bacchae. Euripides' The Bacchae. It's his final play, perhaps was produced even after his death. Great play. Now, to understand the Bacchae is to understand Euripides pretty well, I would say. Euripides certainly manipulates us, the audience. That is, he's got his pet ideas that he wants to explore or throw out anyway. Like Shakespeare, it's hard to know what he really believed, but in his case, he's certainly attacking conventional notions of the gods. Now, here's the question. Why does Euripides tell us late in the play, why does Euripides emphasize Pentheus's youth? We don't know how old he is, but he's a young man. And this is emphasized at the end of the play.